The most exciting team in Spanish football right now isn't Barcelona, Real Madrid or Atletico. No, it's none other than Girona. The small Catalonian club are flying in La Liga this season and somehow at the top of league. It's pretty crazy considering just 2 years ago they weren't even in La Liga. So who exactly is Girona and how did they become so good in such a short time? We'll find out in this video. So, who is Girona? Girona is a small city in Catalonia with a population of just over 100,000. The story of Girona's football club begins on July 23, 1930, when it was founded in the Café Norat along La Rambla. The club started in the second division of the Catalan Championships, playing its first official match against Colonia Artigas in 1930. Later, in the 1935-36 season, they competed in Segunda Division, which is the second division in Spanish football. The club fluctuated between the second division and Tercera Division, falling into third division in 1959 and being further demoted in 1980 to Segunda Division B. Between all of these, in 1968, the construction of their new home stadium, Estadi Montilivi, began, with home matches being held there permanently from 1970 onward. Despite facing challenges and decades without any major success, Girona's story changed in 2008. Girona topped their group in third division and secured a spot in Segunda Division after a 49-year absence. After spending 8 years in second division, the real breakthrough happened in the 2016-17 season when Girona made historic moment, finishing as runners-up to Levante and securing their first ever promotion to La Liga in their 87-year history. That was the first time international audience heard about Girona. In 2017, after getting much attention for the promotion, City Football Group bought 44% of the Girona's share. City Football Group is a network made up from 13 clubs owned all Abu Dhabi United Group and figureheaded by Sheikh Mansour, the Manchester City owner of course. And after buying Manchester City, they have been relentlessly expanding their portfolio from Braga in Brazil to Mumbai City in India. But in 2017, after buying 44% shares of Girona, Manchester City interestingly loaned 3 players to Girona in that summer window: Marlos Moreno, Douglas Luiz and Alex Garcia. This was done to improve their squad because as now both them come under City Football Group, it was more of a goodwill gesture, and connection with City Group is still evident now. 5 players in current squad have either been to City-owned club in the past or are on loan from one of the City Group team. In their first season in 17/18, Girona surprised everyone by finishing 10th, doing better than expected. But the next season didn't go well and they got relegated on the last match day, ending their 2-year run in the top Spanish league. They went back to the second division for the next 3 seasons. In these 5 years, Girona had 5 different managers, mostly lasting only 1 season, showing they didn't have a long-term plan. On July 9, 2021, Míchel became the coach of Girona FC with an option for a second year. In his first season, he did something amazing, getting Girona promoted with a 3-1 win over CD Tenerife in the playoff final. This brought Girona back to La Liga for the second time. But the real question is, who is Míchel? Míchel was a professional footballer and spent a lot of time at Rayo Vallecano, making up to nearly 400 appearances for them. When he finishes his playing career, then he moves nicely into coaching career, where he starts from Rayo Vallecano youth system and eventually he becomes their head coach of the senior squad in 2017. With Rayo Vallecano still being Segunda Division, but in his first season he takes them into La Liga, and the following season he actually gets sacked midway season and Rayo end up getting relegated. From Rayo Vallecano he moves to Huesca, who were also in Segunda Division, and guess what? Exactly the same thing happens. He gets up them to La Liga and then getting mid-sack the next season and Huesca getting relegated. So when he arrives Girona next season in Segunda Division, people expected him to promote them and then get sacked. So the big question, why Míchel struggling to get promoted side to stay in the top division? Well, the man has himself answered it. He says, "My idea as coach has always been the same, which is to be a protagonist." What he means by protagonist is he wants to impact the games by having maximum possession of the ball, but as goes to say, but sometime in top tier, this cost you more. So in Segunda Division he can be a protagonist, but as soon as getting promoted to the next level it becomes a little more difficult. Fast forward to the last season, they finished a solid 10th in La Liga, a good 9 points above the danger zone. But here was the problem. They lost some key players from last season, like top scorer Valentin Castellanos, Rodrigo Requelme, and key centre-back Santiago Bueno, not to forget Oriol Romeu. Losing half their starting lineup had many thinking Girona would be the favourites to go down this season. But with the limited budget of 22 million euros, they had bought bunch of players. At the top of the list is Artem Duvik, a top scorer in the Premier Liga in Ukraine last season, with 24 goals in 30 games. Then there are some players who were on loan last season and have now signed full contracts. Ángel Herrera from Manchester City, Yvonne Motin from Villarreal, and Paulo Gazzaniga from Fulham. We also have Daley Blind from Bayern Munich on a free transfer. This guy, with his experience and the ability to play as a centre-back or a full-back, has been a key player for everything Girona does this season. Adding a couple of loan players like Eric Garcia from Barcelona, a flexible player, who also ability to play as a centre-back or a full-back, and the most exciting name, Savio from Troyes, on loan, who's become one of the most electric players in La Liga this season. He's an exceptional two-way dribbler who can cause problems for any team at any level of the game. He has the most goal contributions on the team. Now let's look into Girona's game strategy. At the beginning, it's typically in a 4-3-3 formation, but as soon as the game starts, things get interesting. They switch it up to a 3-1-6 structure, which might seem a bit unusual, but has been implemented managers like Erik ten Hag at Manchester United and Julian Nagelsmann at Bayern. Girona's 3-1-6 tactic involves building a diamond in midfield. These tactics have contributed to their success in La Liga. This move is their go-to when they face low-block teams. But when they face tougher opponents, that's when the tactical adaptability kicks in. He talks about shifting to a back three and focusing on dominating the penalty box more. According to him, that's the key to competing at the highest level in the modern game. Now, he had this in mind last season, but this season, he's taking Girona to a whole new level. As we finish up, this season was all about surviving for Girona. While that's almost a guarantee, talking about winning the league is a bit unrealistic. Girona finds themselves a year ahead of their planned schedule, but what they really need is constant growth. They don't want to be a one-season wonder and then end up getting relegated. To boost their future, Girona is constructing a new training complex set to open in 2025. It's going to be the second largest training center within the City Group. Now, they're not expecting to rival the Big Three, but Girona does aim to challenge Europe. They're also working on building their fan base and aiming to become the second biggest club in Catalonia.